From Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia. It's the Coca-Cola National Junior Bowling Championship as conducted by the Young American Bowling Alliance. Hello, everyone. This is Len Holmquist along with Don Hillman, who is the chairman of the tournament committee for the National Junior Bowling Championships. And we are about to bring you 3 matches that are going to mean an awful lot in the way of scholarship funds for 6 young bowlers. We are about to present the championship games in the 2nd annual National Junior Bowling Championships. We are ready to begin our stepladder finals here in the National Junior Bowling Championship Open Division. This is the scratch division, and this means that these 2 young fellas, this young fella, the defending national champion, Justin Hromek, and his opponent, Pat Teichmer, will be bowling no handicap. Whatever they knock down is whatever they get. A great looking style. Justin Hromek. He wants to defend the championship. It's easy to see, Don.
Well, last night, his last 2 games, Justin bowled a 255 and a 265 to be placed 4th by 10 pins, so you know he really wanted this one.
From Clarkston, Washington, this is 16-year-old Pat Teichmer. He looks good. Gets out of trouble there. Looked like he may suffer with a split, but he gets away from it.
That's a very talented young man, like all of our bowlers have been. Pat's an excellent bowler. And, he's beat a lot of people to get where he is right now. So we should see a real fine match.
In this match, $1,000 scholarship to the loser, $2,000 scholarship at least to the winner, who will move on. And bowl in our 2nd championship match. Good cover by Pat Teichmer. He'll move over to 33 here at Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia, the home of the Coca-Cola National Junior Bowling Championship. Len Holmquist, along with Don Hillman. Don, the chairman of the tournament committee for the National Bowling Championships. Just a great tournament, Don.
Oh, these are excellent bowlers. Pat's 197 average bowler and is league Washington.
Comes back after his spare with a strike, and this is Justin Hromek from Andover, Kansas, and he, like Pat, also 16 years of age. He is a junior at Andover High School, and he's been bowling 7 years, and he is just a great talent. Defending champion.
He's has a slight advantage as he's had a little television exposure, being our TV finalist last year.
Solid 10. Justin with a Columbia 300 yellow dot, fingertip grip. His favorite bowler is Mark Roth. And the reason that he likes Mark is because people have told him that he bowls a lot like Mark. He does sort of have that aggressive style to the line. Good cover on the 10 pin.
He certainly does. He charges the line. He's a very aggressive bowler. He's a real nice young man. Pat's a nice young man.
So these 2 have traded frames. Justin Hromek opening with a strike, follows with a spare. Pat Teichmer opening with a spare, follows with a strike on 33 here at Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia.
And Justin tucks his little finger in, gets a little bit of extra turn like Mark Roth.
He'll have 2 pins to cover. 7-year bowler. And he got interested in bowling by watching his mother and father, Fran and Larry, bowl. He's got 2 sisters, Julie and Leah, and a brother, Clinton. And he picks it. Tough break here against tough competition for the defending champion here in the National Junior Bowling Championship.
Well, that saw Pat's eyes light up when he saw Justin chop that spare. We'll see if he can capitalize with the strike.
He's working on the strike, and he's got a double. Gets a good round of applause. One of those applauding him on our camera to the right side with the glasses on is Chuck Hall, the executive director of the Young American Bowling Alliance. Just to the right now of Pat Teichmer, that is Chuck Hall.
Outstanding administrator for our Young American Bowling Alliance.
Good looking ball. Good looking ball by young Pat Teichmer. He's got it working here at Fairlane's Bowl. And the defending champion, Justin Hromek, is going to have to put something together here. He went open, remember, after chopping in the third frame. There is no handicap. This is the open division, the scratch division. Mostly young men bowled in the tournament in this division, Don, but I know you had a couple of young gals.
We certainly did. We had 2 young ladies. This year we had 2 young ladies last year. As Justin comes back with a strike crossing over. They're excellent competitors, very fine bowlers. One of the young ladies, Lori Evans, with 197 average bowler, so they're great competitors.
Justin last year winning a $5,000 scholarship and trying to add to his bounty this year.
He can do no less than a $1,000 scholarship, so he's going to get away from this a winner no matter what this match. As you can see, he's a true champion.
He is. He comes back after that open with a double, and I mean that second strike was a solid shot. Here is Pat Teichmer. Pat got interested in bowling because his family liked to bowl. Looks like he hit his leg. Still manages to get a fairly decent carry. Looked to me, Don, like he hit his pant leg.
Well, he's running the ball very close to his body, but he's playing an excellent line. He's played. I watched him in the tournament. He's playing basically the same line that throughout the tournament. The lanes have been very good here, and he has a lot of confidence. He's an excellent bowler. You can see he's strong to the line, and he knows exactly what he has to do in this match.
He is going after it, and he's got it. Does what so many of the pros do when they have to go for the corner pin spares. He, as they say, kills the ball.
Well, in this situation, these youngsters are bowling with overlane ball returns, something that they may not be too used to, so they're just a little bit tentative as they approach the line when they have to throw into a corner. But as you can see, he's a champion and has been able to make the adjustment.
Just got a little bit too much of the head pin. Wants to use the towel now. The hot TV lights. And Pat, not as accustomed to the TV lights as Justin would be. Of course, being the defending champion, he bowled under television conditions last year when he won the championship. Here is Pat, and he's going to cover.
Good cover.
3-6-10 for Pat Teichmer.
Now Justin knows he needs a strike to get himself back into the match.
He is working on a double here on 34. Justin Hromek, a member of rather an exclusive club in bowling, the 300 Club. Baby split. Justin just 16 years of age and already with a 300 to his credit in his high sanctioned series, 759. His 300 occurred in 1980. and is 759 this year. He covers it. Could have been trouble for Justin as he was working on a double. Left the baby split, but he covered it like a true champion.
Justin's down by 20 pins.
Down by 20 through 5. 115 for Pat Teichmer. Justin Hromek with a 95, both with spares in the 6th frame. Good, solid strike. And that puts a little bit of pressure on Pat Teichmer. Pat has come close to that 300 circle. His highest single, a 278. Highest sanctioned series, a 710. And both of those have just happened, well, within the last 6 months. It's a great mix. Light hit, but a great mix here at Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia. It's a great round of applause from the crowd.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. The 4 and the 5 went in 2 different directions.
Well, Pat Teichmer was glad to see him go in 2 different directions, and down on the deck.
As long as it was down,
Didn't matter. He's ahead by 20 on 33 here in the 8th frame. That time he is very light. Does not get the great mix that he got before.
That's the 2, 4, 5. We have 400,000 youngsters participate in this tournament on the house level, the bowling center level. So we get to this television show, these people are truly champions.
Pat bowling like a champion. He covers it. And now it's up to the defending champion, Justin Hromek. They would both like to go on and meet second-seeded Gary White from Gillette, Wyoming. Top-seeded in the scratch division, Byron Brown from Acampo, California. On the head pin, could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. Justin definitely needing a strike as he trailed by 20 after 6, 135 to 115. He had a strike working for him in the 7th. Now the 6-10. Let's see if he kills the ball. He did. And he picks the 6 off the 10, and that chop Justin looking at the score, and he knows that he's running out of frames, running out of time.
He's puts him down by 32 pins. He realizes it's going to the 9th. He's got to put some pressure on Pat.
Solid 10. 6 kicked around it and just would not fall. And a wipe of the brow for Justin.
That's warm under the television lights. That's something a little bit different for most of these youngsters.
Well, the whole week here at the National Junior Bowling Championships, Don, has been a great experience for all of the bowlers.
Well, I think the one of the main things they've been able to take back the friendships that they'll have for the rest of their lives. They're getting to meet people from all over the United States. It was fun to watch them walk in and know not one person, and now they've made lasting friendships. So that's been a very big part of our tournament.
Pat Teichmer from Clarkston, Washington. He has come a long way to Springfield, Virginia, and he's on his way to the next game. Up the stepladder finals here. He has all but closed out Justin Hromek.
Last night in his 4-game block of his third set of games, he shot 244, 209, 211, and 238. So this young man knows exactly what he wants to do.
Tenth frame, a strike, and that wraps up the match. As far as the opening game in our Open Division Championship Finals of the National Junior Bowling Championships here at Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia. It's going to be a big finish for Pat Teichmer, who will now move on and go against Gary White from Gillette, Wyoming. Looks good. That's a 3-bagger, and he's going to have a score in the 230s. Just a great exhibition of bowling by 16-year-old Pat Teichmer, an 11th grader at Clarkston High School in Clarkston in the great state of Washington, the great Northwest. He came a long way and is hoping to go even further here in our championship round.
Well, Justin's going to come out of this again with a $1,000 scholarship. So as a champion from the state of Kansas, he goes out a champion.
Justin giving Pat congratulatory shake, a little bit of a smile. He'll finish up here, but it'll be Pat Teichmer going on to bowl against Gary White in game number 2 when we return here to Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia, and the Open Division of the National Junior Bowling Championships in just a moment.
Welcome to Inside Bowling this week. We're in Limerick, PA, and with me now is Mark Roth. Mark, what got you interested in bowling originally?
Well, I watched them build a bowling center 3 blocks from my house, so I watched them put it together, and when it finally finished, I went to bowl.
Did you bowl in the junior program?
Yes, I did.
How many years?
Oh, 4.
What was do you remember what your average was the first year?
About 156, some 150s.
And what was it your final year as a junior?
197.
What got you interested in going on the pro tour?
I bowled local tournaments at home and local scratch tournaments, bowled scratch leagues, bowled for action, bowled for money. I bowled good. I figured, let me give it a shot.
A number of house bowlers average 220, 230, and they say, oh, I know, I see those guys on TV and they bowl 180 or 190. I know I can beat them. What do you think would happen to them if they came out here?
They would average about 150, 160. Most of the conditions at home are very easy. Lane conditions are easy. Averages are about 25 pins to 30 inflated. They come out here and we're bowling on a condition where it's not a block, there's no wall. You got to make good shots. If you don't make good shots, scores aren't there. And these amateurs, I don't think they could even average 175 out here.
Mark, we appreciate you being on the show today, and we'll be right back with more of the Bowlers Gazette right after this.
Are ready to go, and this is Pat Teichmer shaking hands with second-seeded Gary White. This is the Open Division of the Coca-Cola National Junior Bowling Championships. Pat Teichmer from Clarkston, Washington. Teichmer already a winner in game number 1, and he defeated the defending champion, Justin Hromek from Andover, Kansas, 233 to 178. Pat Teichmer opening with a solid strike. Good-looking 16-year-old bowler from Clarkston, Washington.
Gary White's currently is holding a high game for our tournament. He bowled at 287 yesterday, starting with the first 10 strikes in a row. Gave us a lot of excitement here.
Big strike for Gary White. Gillette, Wyoming is this 16-year-old's hometown.
Len, this interesting note that as we put these young people up in our hotel, these two boys just happen to be roommates. They have been housed in the same room at our hotel all week, and here they find themselves on television bowling against each other.
From Clarkston, Washington, and Gary from Gillette, Wyoming. They came a long way to be roommates, and now they battle each other for scholarship money. The winner of this match, $3,000 and the right to go on to face Byron Brown in the championship match. Byron from Acampo, California. And whoever comes out on the short end in this match will not come out on the short end financially. He will walk away with a $2,000 scholarship. Chop. Gary White goes open with that chop here in the second frame. And now let's see if Pat Teichmer can jump on him. Jump on the opportunity he has struck to open the match. And he is going to go open unless he can pull a rabbit out of his hat. Last time I saw the 710 made, it was on national television. Mark Roth made it during a PBA stop. 710. Pat goes after the 7. We didn't see it, but he did get the 7. There you finally saw a look at the 7-pin vacating the deck here on lane 34 at Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia.
A lot evened out our match.
These young men are bowling without the aid of handicap, of course. This is scratch, just like the pros do it on Saturday afternoons on the PBA Tour. Very, very difficult spare. The 3, the 9, and the 10.
Now, one of the problems that we're facing using our television lights, sometimes they tend to dry out the lanes just a little bit, take up some of the oil, and now they're having these young bowlers are having to make an adjustment, which I'm sure they will. They're very capable people. That was a nice try.
So Pat goes open again here in the third frame. Very difficult spare, couldn't cover it, and Gary White is up. Gary goes to Campbell County High School in Gillette, Wyoming. Been bowling in league play for 8 years. Ball not quite finishing as well as in our first match when we had Pat Teichmer defeating the defending champion Justin Hromek. That was a good point, Don, about the lanes drying out with the television cameras. And not so much the cameras, but the lights, and the 10-pin is covered by Gary White.
Well, these young people have an awful lot of ability. They understand that they need good equipment. They're excellent bowlers. They're coming right out of our Young American Bowling Alliance program. They have a lot of talent and ability. And they worked out of it.
I'll tell you how Gary got started bowling. Some junior bowlers came to his school and talked the game of bowling up. And they talked about bowling in junior leagues, and it sounded like fun, and that's how Gary got his start.
Well, we have 800,000 people bowling in
Baby split cover.
Nice pickup. We have 800,000 youngsters that are bowling on a weekly basis with our Young American Bowling Alliance, and here's 2 fine examples of that program.
And for a lot of our youngsters out there watching, you can relate this national championships to the World Series in Little League.
Well, it's the biggest tournament that the Young American Bowling Alliance conducts. It is the granddaddy of them all. It's definitely our showcase tournament where we've got 400,000 youngsters participate on a house level, a bowling center level. every one of these youngsters coming representing their states are state champions. And of course, we're fortunate enough now to sit here and watch and see who's going to be our grand national champions.
Pat taking a little extra time. During the tournament week, he averaged 204. Double. He's got a solid double.
Well, they evened up the match right to the pin with that ball. Not unlike all the other matches we've had. Very exciting matches all week long. It's roommate against roommate.
Big sweeping hook from the 15-pound fingertip ball. It's an Ebonite Gyro 1, by the way. It gyrated right to the pins that time. Big strike for Gary.
The winner of this match will win the right to go on to bowl our tournament leader and ultimately bowl for a $5,000 scholarship. So there's a great incentive.
The 4-pin. Gary wanting it to go down so badly. Gary utilizing 2 balls in this match. One ball, I guess, to go for the strikes, and the other one picks up his pairs as he just did, picking up the 7-pin. Gary White with 186, check it, 86 through the 5th. On a spare. And here's Pat Teichmer, winner of game 1 on a double.
Strike will put Pat 10 pins up on this, so he realizes that.
He's throwing a tighter line, and it's working. Pat Teichmer taking the lead here with a 3-bagger.
Dad's really working on that gun, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
The parents have been a very big part of our tournament, too. They have great support from parents and brothers and sisters. They've been a very big part of our tournament. They've been involved in our activities, have followed the bowling, and have really been a great help for us here in Washington, D.C.
Pat Teichmer is really knocking him over. A 233 opening game win. And he's on a 4-bagger after going open. Pat looks to be getting stronger. And here's his roomie. Too much head pin. Not the big sweeping hook that we had seen the previous frame from Gary. Gary very appreciative of all the help that his father, Glenn, has given him when things weren't going so well in his bowling game. A game that has spanned 8 years. He makes the cover. He'll move over to 33. We're in the 8th frame. Second game of the championship step ladder finals. Open division. That's a scratch division. Brooklyn, 5-pin won't go. Don, I know already as this tournament is concluding, the American Bowling, the Junior Alliance is looking to next year.
We're real excited about next year's tournament. We have already been in many meetings and spent a great amount of time developing the new rules and format. We're real excited about it. We're looking for participation from 3,500 bowling centers, and we're hoping for 500,000 youngsters to participate in our tournament next year. And they may too have a chance at the scholarships like these 2 young men are doing right now.
On a 4-bagger, Pat Teichmer. Make it 5. The great state of Washington brought us Earl Anthony. Could it be bringing us another true champion down the road in a few years on the PBA tour? Pat Teichmer from Clarkston in Washington.
We've had many champions come out of the forerunner of this particular term, which was the All-America Youth Bowling Championships.
The string ends at 5, but he gets a nice round of applause for a super effort. Just a super effort.
In 1974, Donna Adamek was a champion, $5,000 scholarship champion from the state of California, and of course is now one of the leading money winners on the professional women's tour.
Pat goes for it. Leading here in the match against Gary White. Pat going for that 4-10 split, but he doesn't come up. 180 through the ninth for Pat. Gary White needs to start striking. Looks a little heavy. Broke very quickly the last 5-6 feet. Pat Teichmer, if he could strike out, would bowl a 210. Gary White, he's got the cover. Gary with a 139 through 8.
Gary can shoot a 189 game.
Which would make Pat mark.
It would make Pat get a mark for sure. You're right, Len, or we could have a tie game.
Well, he needed that one, and that did it as far as Gary White's chances of moving on to our championship match against Byron Brown from Acampo, California. Gary White, high single game during the tournament. Well, I guess, Don, if you've got to go down to defeat, you might as well go down to defeat to your newfound friend and roommate.
Well, you can also take a $2,000 scholarship with you. That's not bad.
$2,000 for Gary White from Gillette, Wyoming. He's an 11th grader at Campbell County High School, 16 years of age, and when he's ready for college, there will be $2,000 ready for him in scholarship funds provided via the Coca-Cola National Junior Bowling Championships. He ends up with a 175 total. And I know right here Pat Teichmer would like to set himself up for the championship match, maybe throw some strikes. He's got a 180. He's got a 190.
I know Gary's a little disappointed, but Gary averaged 206 for the 19 games to earn the right to get to where he is right now, and we're proud of Gary. And I'm sure he's very happy to be able to take home a $2,000 scholarship back to Wyoming.
This is our winner in the second game of our stepladder finals in the open division of the National Junior Bowling Championships, and he is really finishing with thunder. 233 his first game, and he's going to be in the 210 range here in game 2, and that's a hefty, strong-looking average in championship competition under television conditions. First time ever for Pat.
He looks real good now. He's going to earn the right to face Byron Brown from California, who has led this tournament since the second block.
Can he strike out? He strikes out. His roomie comes up to congratulate him, and he gets a standing ovation. Pat Teichmer. Excellent effort with a 210. He'll go on to face Byron Brown in the championship match here in the National Junior Bowling Championships when we return in just a moment.
Welcome to Inside Bowling this week. We have with us Mike Durbin, who is on the Pro Tour and has been there for quite a while, and he's also behind the scenes. You hear him a lot on the USA. And how you doing this week? How do you think the lanes are?
Well, the lanes seem like so far like it's an outside shot. In other words, most of the players are going to be playing close to the first arrow or near the channel of the lane, and It seems like there's going to be a pretty good shot in the scores. I would estimate to be reasonably high.
Which do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to bowl, or do you prefer to do the commentary?
Well, I enjoy the commentating a lot more than I do the bowling. I've been doing the bowling for 17 years now, and I'm a little bit tired of it. But I would rather be bowling because that means I'm going to be making more money.
What got you interested in bowling originally?
Well, I came by it quite naturally. My parents were both bowlers. I was almost born in a bowling center. They owned a small 8-lane center in Burbank, California, and I grew up bowling and practicing a lot. Very natural.
Were you ever a junior bowler?
I never really participated in junior leagues as such. I started bowling in a men's league when I was 15. That was really the first league that I competed in, but I bowled as a junior. I just didn't do it in junior leagues.
What kind of average did you carry the first year? Do you remember?
Well, when I was 15 in that men's league, I carried 179. I missed by one total pin of being 180.
How many years have you been on the tour now?
17. This is my seventh. This will be the finish of my 17th year.
And you hit most of the stops?
Well, yeah, I'm bowling close to 30 tournaments every year. Yes.
And how do you get from the different tournaments? Do you have a van, or how do you get there?
I have a motorhome that I travel in every week. It's getting quite old now. It's a contest to see which is going to last longer, the motorhome or me.
Okay, Mike, thanks a lot for being on the show.
My pleasure.
We'll be right back with more of the Bowlers Gazette right after this.
Junior Bowling Championship Open Division final game. $5,000 in scholarship funds to the winner, $3,000 to the runner-up. And here is our tournament qualifying leader from Acampo, California. This is 16-year-old Byron Brown.
Well, this gentleman didn't do too well in his first 4-game block. He had a 703 for 4 games and turned right around in his second block and shot 1,003.
And he opens here with a resounding strike.
A very tough competitor. He averaged 214 for his 19 games to get into the television show. He led from the 5th game of the tournament right straight through to the 19th game.
Well, I'll tell you, Byron is going to have to bowl some to beat this young fella. Pat Teichmer from Clarkston, Washington. He has already won twice, and he opens with a strike. In his first 2 games, he averaged 221.5. And one of those victories over the defending national champion, Justin Hromek from Andover, Kansas.
He's a very strong bowler. We've been fortunate to see him display some of his talents for us. This should be a very exciting match. And, of course, they're bowling for $8,000 in scholarships, $5,000 to the winner, and $3,000 to the runner-up.
Doesn't quite come up. He'll have to go for the spare. A winner twice. Justin Hromek, the defending champion from Andover, Kansas, fell to Pat 233 to 178. Then he defeated Gary White from Gillette, Wyoming, who happened to be Pat's roommate during the tournament, 210 to 175. He slides by. He'll have to shake it off.
That's a very difficult spare, the kind of ball he's throwing. It's easy to chop, and that's exactly what he did. But he's so tough. He's a tough competitor. He'll come right back.
And another tough competitor, Byron Brown, an 11th grade student at Galt High School in Acampo, California. He's 16 years of age. He's been to the pressure before, Don. He has a 299 game.
Well, Byron treated us to opening up his second block. Started with a 280 game. Turned right around his very next game and bowled 263. So there's a young man that knows how to throw strikes. And,
interesting on his bio chart, Don, you know, many bowlers can give you their high game, their high series, and when they bowled it 3 years ago, 5 years ago. He remembers the date. It was 4/7/83. He tells us he's got the cover. The spare that Pat Teichmer couldn't make, Byron Brown does make. April the 7th, 83. He had a 299 game. And last September, his best sanctioned series ever, a 764. Look out, Earl Anthony.
Well, he bowled in 2 very fine bowling centers in Northern California. The 299 game came at Tokay Bowl Lodi, owned by a proprietor, Hank Healy, a very involved proprietor with youth bowling. And West Lane Bowl in Stockton happens to have one of the finest youth programs in the United States.
Third frame strike for Byron Brown.
I think what we're seeing here is 2 products of the Young American Bowling Alliance as ambassadors of goodwill to such a fine sport as bowling.
Height.
One of the interesting things we see, Byron is a big fella. He's tall. Pat's a short fella, isn't very big at all. Probably weighs about 125 pounds. They're both competing in this championship television match. Physical abilities as bowlers are about equal. Watch out.
He got away with dropping the ball, and that one does cover the 10 pin. But with the striking power of Byron Brown so far evident in this game, Don, Pat's going to have to come on.
Pat needs a strike right here to get himself back in the match. As we know, he had an open in the second frame. He's aware of that. But he's very capable of stringing strikes. But of course, he's got to start with the first one, and he's looking for that one right here. 4 pin, a little tight. Ball's real tight.
Pat throwing a very tight line. All during the tournament, different styles, different ways of throwing the ball. Runs by the 7 pin, and he is having his problems. There's Pat Teichmer.
Well, on that spare, we take nothing for granted in this game, and sometimes they become almost automatic. But as we saw, he was a little tight, left the 4 pin, and slid right by it on the left-hand side. But again, he's a state champion from Washington. He'll come right back.
Resounding strike by Byron Brown. Led home quest along with Don Hillman. Don, the chairman of the National Junior Bowling Championship Committee, the tournament committee. Big responsibilities on your shoulder, Don. I know that the bowling's been great, and the kids have really enjoyed themselves here in the Capitol, and congratulations go to you and your committee members.
Thank you. I'm very proud of our committee. We have Tournament Director Randy Kilgore has done an outstanding job in putting together this gigantic function.
And we are seeing some super bowling.
Well, we're as a bowling proprietor in Northern California, we're all very proud of Byron Brown. Byron has made the Northern California top 10 team, our all-state team, and he'll be honored in September for his bowling ability in that state.
Pat needing a strike, but the 5 won't go. Well, that's bowling luck. Earlier matches, when Pat was winning, those shots were going.
Well, sometimes it has a way of evening itself up. Pat is an outstanding competitor, but I think he's seen that it's not always real easy. These youngsters sure make it look easy.
He covers the 5 pin, but he's got to get cranking with some heavy strikes because Byron Brown is really bowling super.
Byron's a tough competitor, and he's not about to open up a door because he knows that with Pat's ability, if he opens the door, Pat's going to go right in. So Byron has found himself a line. He has shot real well the whole tournament, and I think he's pretty well locked in on this pair.
Finally a strike. for the much deserving Pat Teichmer. Winner of 2 matches already, moving up to the stepladder finals, but he has run into one tough hombre, and this young fella, Byron Brown. Acampo, California is his home. He'll look for a spare. He was working on a turkey.
This is a very difficult spare. Now this is exactly the same shot he had in the second frame when he had the 2-4-5, except this time he's got the 8-pin. We call it the bucket, and he has to, of course, be careful to cover. The ball's got to hit the 8-pin. Okay.
Byron does go open. Tough spare to make. He has an interesting way of picking out his favorite pro, Don. He likes Steve Cook. Even though Steve is a left-hander, he likes Steve because Steve Cook is the professional bowler who happens to live the closest to him.
Yeah, that's interesting. He does. Steve is from Santa Rosa.
He's like rooting for your closest baseball team. If you live in the Philadelphia area, you root for the Phillies. If you live in L.A., you root for the Dodgers. Byron Brown, lots of power. Bang. This time crossing over, and he comes back after that open.
Well, Byron knows he got a break, and but those are the kind of breaks you want on television and bowling for a $5,000 scholarship. So now Pat's working on a strike, and of course he knows he needs a double, and a double will put him right back in this match.
In the scholarship fund department, $1,000 to Justin Hromek of Andover, Kansas, 4th finisher in the open division, the scratch division. Pat running into problems. The ball just not finishing for him as well this game as it did in his previous 2 victories. Gary White of Gillette, Wyoming, takes home from the National Junior Bowling Championships a $2,000 scholarship. $33,000 overall in scholarship funds provided to boys and girls.
Oh.
Good cover. Tough cover.
Terrific shot.
Very fine shot. You couldn't have seen it better on the PBA tour, Don.
That was a beautiful shot. Well, that's what you call a clutch shot. There's this young man, 16 years old, is throwing the ball like a professional bowler. Excellent cover.
He could certainly use a strike right here. And he gets it. He needed a strike because Byron Brown is on a strike in the 7th frame.
Well, these guys are real troopers. There's over 400 people in this bowling center right now, and you can hear a pin drop. And yet these fellows can walk right up the lane, let go of the ball, and just throw the ball right in a 1-3 pocket.
Who knows, maybe 5 years down the line, we'll see Byron and Pat going against the best on TV. But Byron Brown may be unstoppable in this championship match. He is just one whale of a bowler. Big, strong fella, and he lets it go.
And we go back to the 6th frame where he had an open in between a turkey and now a double, 3 strikes and 2 strikes, and that ball just barely missed the head pin, and it caused him a lot of problems. So I think he's made the proper adjustment. And of course, he's looking for a strike here in the 9th frame.
They call it the foundation frame, and he wants a big foundation, a strong one. But he's going to have to go over the baby split. 310. I'm sure Byron has all the capabilities of going for this baby split. National Junior Bowling Championships. This is the open division, the scratch division finals, pitting this young fellow, Byron Brown, against 16-year-old Pat Teichmer from Clarkston, Washington. Both have traveled a long way to reach the finals here in Springfield, Virginia. And he's got the good cover. Little extra muscle and mustard.
Here we see a baby split picked up on the 7th frame by Pat and turned right around. Byron picks up one in the 9th frame. Same type of split, except, of course, Pat had the sleeper, the 8-pin sleeper, which made it much more difficult. We're being treated to a very fine match today.
Pat lets it go a little early. And he's going to have to go after a spare that he's already made once. I don't think he wants to try it twice. He covered it once. The very difficult 2-7-8.
Absolutely right, man. That is a very difficult shot.
This time, Pat unable to make the cover. He goes open in the 9th frame with a 144. The best he can finish up with is 174. The championship is owned by Byron Brown. He was the top seed coming into the stepladder finals. The young 16-year-old from Ocampo, California. Let us watch Pat Teichmer. He bowled well in this tournament. Winner of 2 matches in the stepladder finals. One of those a resounding 233-178 victory over the defending champion in this bracket, Justin Hromek, Andover, Kansas.
We had 2 great competitors. And sitting right behind Pat right now, Don Lowry, the president of our board of directors for the Young American Bowling Alliance, and right next to him, Bill Roth from representing Coca-Cola. And those 2 have played a very big part in our tournament. We're happy to have them here with us today.
Fine finish by Pat Teichmer in a losing effort, but he's going to go home richer by $3,000 in scholarship funds. But our champion here in the open division is this young fella. He's 16 years old. He is from Ocampo, California. His name is Byron Brown. Remember that name. Just remember that name. He's looking for more strikes. He already has the $5,000 scholarship funds wrapped up. Don, I've enjoyed working with you, and to all of the fine folks at the Young American Bowling Alliance, the best of luck in the future with this tournament and all of your bowling endeavors. It's just a great, outstanding organization.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed working with you. It's been a pleasure, and we appreciate, on behalf of the youngsters that have participated in this tournament and our entire organization, we appreciate your interest in our great sport of bowling. And thank you for coming here today.
And here is Fairlanes Bowl in Springfield, Virginia. The National Junior Bowling Championships presented by Coca-Cola and conducted by the Young American Bowling Alliance. Our open division champion is this young fellow, Byron Brown from Ocampo, California. $5,000 scholarship he'll have to take home with him when he wings his way west. Wants to go out a big strike. Crosses over, but he'll take it. They all go down. He doesn't really care. The champion in the open division is Byron Brown. There he is. We'll be back to talk with Byron in just a moment.
On Inside Bowling, I have the youngest star in professional bowling, Pete Weber. Pete, what got you interested in bowling?
Well, naturally, my father's Dick Weber, and he had a lot to do with that. He owned a bowling alley, and when we got old enough, he'd let us walk in and just go push the ball down the lane. And all the kids took it up for a profession, and now I'm the only one left out here on tour.
Did you bowl when you were a junior? Did you bowl in a junior bowling program?
Yeah, we had a junior bowling program in St. Louis. We had a junior archway tournament that ran like, I'd say twice a month, and that was good for experience to match play and everything.
How many years have you been bowling in this tour, in a PBA tour?
This is my 4th year as a PBA member and full-time on tour.
I seen you on TV, so how many times have you won? How many times do you remember, how many titles?
I have 2 titles and 4 second places. I don't like those second places. I'd rather take the first place. Started on tour.
Yeah, started on tour.
You just fill out an application, have 3 members in good standing sign the application, send it into the office, and normally they won't turn you down. They'll automatically accept you.
Well, Pete, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Dave.
And we'll be right back with more Junior Bowlers Gazette right after this.